That radio chick Cheryl Lee here. Welcome to the Still Rocking It podcast, where we'll have music, news reviews and interviews with some of our favourite Australian musicians and artists. Multi-award winner Dave Gleeson from the Screaming Jets and the Angels will join forces with ARIA Hall of Famer Russell Morris, music giants Jack Jones from Southern Sons, Rai Thistlethwayte from Thirsty Merc, performing their biggest hits, known as the Fabulous Caprettos, and performing together on stage for the entire concert. What is a capretto? These four have earned the title of greatest of all time goats. The name capretto was suggested by management agent John Starr, as it is Italian for goat. Today we caught up with the chat in the Zoom room with Dave and Ray to tell us all about it, Ray's secret hobby, and what Dave does with his little chainsaw. To catch up on podcasts from other favourite artists, simply go to thatradiochick.com.au.
Hello there, Cheryl Lee. How you going?
Long time no speak.
Yes. Nice T-shirt.
I thought you'd be impressed.
I'm wearing the same one.
I love it. Who designed it?
The designer's name is Dave Homer. He used to work at Sony. He's very good. It was a lot of people have commented on the fact they do love the kind of new look.
Actually, I got interviewed the other day by The Music for Oz Music T-shirt Day. They sent me a whole heap of questions and they said, who do I think has the best designed merch? Guess what I said?
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah, it's not just this one. They're all pretty good.
Yeah, no, we've had some great artwork over the last few years. Katie's always kind of looking into that management side of things.
Well done, Katie. How long have we got?
You got as long as you like.
Well, should we get started?
Ray.
How are you, mate? Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
You're with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick, and I'd like to welcome into the Zoom room today two goats, two greatest of all time, two of the four of the Fabulous Caprettos. Welcome, Ray. Welcome, Dave. Thank you for joining me today.
How's it going?
Great to be here, Cheryl Lee.
I've seen two Fabulous Caprettos. Your very first opening night, Ray, at the Bridgeway in 2021, and then again at the Bridgeway at the beginning of the year. This is a little bit different because couldn't have swapped out, I mean, they're both goats, don't get me wrong, but you couldn't have swapped out two different frontmen for Daryl Braithwaite for Dave Gleeson. So how's it all going?
Oh, well, for me, I'm stoked. It's a great project. You know, I've always loved Dave and his work, and yeah, I think it's going to be a nice addition to the whole lineup. I mean, you've got some huge hits there and great hang, and you know, it's all about how we interact on stage and everything, and it's a cool, I think, you know, yeah, it's a really good overview of a lot of strong songs. Everything went great, didn't it, Dave?
Yeah, mate, I can't wait. It's as you say, to be playing on stage with guys who, you know, like Russell Morris, obviously such an iconic figure in the industry, and Jack, and getting to play with yourself and Jack, and people I haven't spent much time with, Jackie Barnes, obviously in the band. As you say, it's going to be all about how we hang out together, and I don't know if I can replace Daryl. They've taken a nice guy out and put me in, but
are you going to sing horses?
Maybe we should do horses
just for the fun of it. I reckon you should. You both are extremely busy. In fact, all of you goats are really busy. Dave, you're in the middle of the professional Misconduct tour, hence the T-shirt, heading to New South Wales this weekend. And Ray, you're in the middle of your 20 Good Years tour, also heading to New South Wales. And of course, I'm seeing Russell Friday night here with the orchestra. So have you had much time to actually get together to rehearse, or is it all done by smoke and mirrors and Zoom?
It's hard to get everybody together for sure. Everyone is pretty busy with stuff, but we've had one rehearsal down in Melbourne, and there's another one scheduled for the start of the year next year. But there's a lot of stuff being thrown around, you know, with emails and stuff like that. So we've got a pretty good idea of what we got to do. But you've got limited time when you're actually in the same place together. So, you know, I guess we're all professionals. We've done this before, so we'll figure out how it all works. And then, you know, there's a bit of discovery on the gigs, isn't there, as well?
Well, that's right. I mean, the thing is, of course, we're picking the kind of biggest songs that we've got to do. Kind of, everyone has a kind of knowledge of the song from being in the same, musical sphere as each other. So, we got in the studio, and within the first 20 minutes, there was stuff coming up that was, you just know is going to sound amazing on stage with, 6 people singing at some stages, all with, it's just, it's amazing. I really can't wait to be called the Caprettos. I love it.
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
We will play a song from each of the GOATs, each of the greatest of all time Fabulous Caprettos. Let's start with the new kid on the block, Dave Gleeson's band, The Screaming Jets. This is from their new album, Professional Misconduct, and we play this in honour of their bass man and their best friend, Paul Woseen, who they lost earlier this year. The Screaming Jets, Second Chance. Going to be back to speak to a couple of GOATs again shortly.
So cold outside today, I think I'm gonna stay by the fire. Some things you can never take back. If you do, you're a liar. In my heart, I know what's right. In my head, there's a desperate fight. Don't believe in me, you believe in you. You're the only one who's gonna see it through. You thought about a second chance. You never get them anyway. Right now, do you know what you'd say? It's what you see, not what you get. How I am, no regrets. Words I've heard I won't forget. Plays out like an old cassette. Heart makes me move, the distance here, that's what you choose. You're not the only one. Thought about a second chance. You never get them anyway. And if one came along right now, do you know what you'd say? I thought about a second chance. You never get them anyway. And if one came along right now, do you know what you'd say? That you could be the one. What if the sky begins to fall and the treadmill stops in the stalls? What if the sun lost its shine? We're running out of time. When there's nothing left to say, nothing else to do. You've got nothing left, I've got nothing to. Thought about a second chance. And if it came along right now, what would you do? What would you do? I thought about a second chance. You never gave them anyway. And if one came along right now, I don't know if I know what to say. And if you had the chance right now, do you know what you would say? Oh no, so you never did. Thought about a second chance, you never get it anyway. And if it came along right now, then you know just what you would say. What would you say?
I've got the first Caprettos album. Any chance of a new one now that the lineup has changed a little?
Actually, John Starr's been talking a bit about trying to get something going. Russell did send me a couple of lyrics. This is some months back now, saying he wanted to flesh something out. It is that thing, you know, when do we have time to get into the studio and do it? I like to personally record at the same time as other people being there. These days, a lot of people are throwing files around on drop boxes and stuff like that. But I just hope we can get into the studio one day. Who knows? Maybe it'll be like one of those things where, you know, day off after one of the gigs or something, we might even be able to get into a studio and bash something out. But we'll have to flesh the songs out first before that happens. Who knows?
I hope for some magic to arrive.
That's it. Maybe we'll write some stuff at dinner time or something when we're just sitting around.
That's right.
The rest of the band, we know you four goats pretty well now. Is My Tiger Man, is Jason for her on guitar?
He certainly is. He's on bass, yeah. Melbourne-based, legendary guy, lovely. He's just the nicest guy in the world. And a good singer too, actually, isn't he?
Yeah, fantastic. He was nailing these backing vocals, and as I say, Jackie sings as well. It's just going to be it'll be layered up like it'll be West Coast on steroids.
Yeah, totally.
And Jason's a Tiger supporter, a Richmond supporter.
In the Virgin Lounge, and I think Dustin Martin walked in and he lost his cool. He was like,
I would too.
Right now, pretty fun.
Russell was telling me that when Richmond lost a final, Jason was in tears.
Yeah, it can be a very emotional time, obviously.
I love a passionate man. And you said Jackie Barnes again with you on drums. That's fantastic. So much looking forward to it. I haven't spoken to you, Ray, since May 2021. And this time, Dave, in 2021. Time flies when you're having fun. You've both been really busy, but I'm going to ask you like a non-Caprettos question that I don't think I asked you last time, Ray. I'd like to know what music you like to listen to when you're alone in your car. What's on your playlist?
It's a good question. There's been I've been up in the Gold Coast a little bit, just driving around with someone up there, and been really cool. Like, we've been listening to a lot of the song Moving Out by Billy Joel. There's been a bit of Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy, Elton stuff going down. But there's also been a bit of Olivia Rodrigo, some new artists coming out as well that I've not really heard until the last few months. I know I sort of missed the boat on them releasing stuff, but some of these new songs that are coming out.
The License by Olivia, how good is that?
It's great, yeah.
Driver's License.
She's got a whole bunch of amazing singles that she's released, and they're just unstoppable hits. They're really huge. And actually, funnily enough, I was on the plane actually going from Sydney to Melbourne just a couple of days ago, and there was a documentary about Shania Twain on there. I mean, I obviously remember all the big songs, you know, from the radio, because they just got absolutely hammered on the radio. But I didn't realise that, you know, she'd lost her parents when she was 22, and how amazing that relationship with the producer and her partner was.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a huge fan of Back in Black and a lot of the albums that he actually worked on, Mutt Lange. And just tragically how they split up, and, you know, it just seemed like such a beautiful partnership and all this. But obviously there was so much else going on, and that was really interesting. So when I got off the plane, I just stuck her big album Come On Over on. It's kind of like a country version of Back in Black. It's like one of those things where you can just tell it was that combination of an artist who had amazing vision and talent, you know, like AC/DC was with Back in Black and Mutt Lange. But you got Mutt Lange there that basically there's nothing on the album that isn't perfectly produced to really just do huge global damage as a radio. You know, we're talking like 12 of those 16 songs got released onto the charts. It's just
phenomenal.
Almost a masterclass in, wow, this is just how the cross-section of a perfect artist and producer sort of thing works. And it was just one of those masterclass listens again. I was just like, even though it's got a couple of decades now, you know, since it came out, there's not one note on there that's out of place. It's just one of those perfect listening experiences. That was really cool. So I was listening to that yesterday.
Still Rocking It podcast with that radio chick, Cheryl Lee.
They said love hurts. I wrote that book. I climbed that wall. I had one look, but you just came around to say hello. The streets were filled with guilty hearts, and here was I right from the
Love Shania. I play her on the radio all the time. And Dave, I reckon you like a little bit of country and you might like Shania as well. What are you listening to on your playlist at the moment?
There's this Willie Nelson album that I've rediscovered. Stardust, and it's just all these, classic standards, and just Willie's playing and singing, and I mean, I don't know, I reckon he's underrated as a guitar player, because even though he plays these one-note nylon string lead breaks, they just absolutely smash you when he plays them. And Ammonia Avenue by the Alan Parsons Project, I haven't listened to it for ages, and I used to listen to it when I was about 15 or 16, and talk about production. I mean, those albums were just beautifully produced and sung. The guy from the Moody Blues sings a lot, Justin Haywood, something like that. But yeah, just beautifully produced songs. They're 3.5 minute pop songs, but they're just unreal. So I love an album will come and I think, oh, geez, I used to listen to that every day, So that was one of them that's made it back into the playlist.
Are we going to see another Wanted Man solo album soon? I know I ask this question every time.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of songs together for it. Probably do it next year. I mean, we're just kind of fulfilling these Jets dates that were already in place before the sad demise of our brother. So once that's kind of done, we'll be able to take stock, but that'll also be the time. I've got heaps of demos done for the solo album. So yeah, I'm looking for next year maybe as a chance to put out Dave Gleeson. Everyone thinks I'm a country artist too.
And Ray, Thirsty Merc, got a scoop for us? Any new things coming out for you guys soon?
Look, there's been a little bit of talk about it, obviously, and we have actually been working on a few tracks. I'm actually sitting in my studio now in Melbourne, and I was working on a few things that they could work as a solo thing. They could work as a band thing. It's sort of one of those things. I try and write music that just, is music that feels something. And then sometimes the stuff that might be the right instruments for a band to do, I'll sort of put into that. Sometimes it's more like piano and vocal and it has that ballad vibe. Sometimes you can do that for, the Merc as well, but depends how the song kind of comes out, what might work. We work with a guy, Lindsay, down here, who's produced about 90% of our stuff or more. And he's a pretty tough critic. So if I play him stuff, he'll just be like, nah, not good enough. That verse sounds like a poor cousin of his other song released a while ago. That's good because I get pushed by a guy like him. So I'll sort of see what he thinks of a compendium of stuff I've been writing and get the hard knocks. And then I'll have to go back and just, make certain things better and see if I can beat the old stuff that isn't as good. But that's always a good process, because you end up sort of sculpting it into something which has more focus by the end of it. So there's a body of work emerging, put it that way.
You heard it first here, 2 scoops. There's work in progress at both camps. Woo!
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
I think we should have a song now from another one of the original GOAT, greatest of all time, Russell Morris. You all think I'm going to play the real thing, but I'm going to play something from the very successful Shark Mouth album from 2012, Walk My Blues. And if you're really lucky and you go and see the Fabulous Caprettos, you may even hear this song. Back to speak to Rai Thistlethwayte from Thirsty Merc and Dave Gleeson from the Screaming Jets after this song from Russell.
It's too hot to sleep, so I have to walk. Depression's got me down, so I can't talk. Lost my family, my home too. So many lost souls singing the blues. Gonna walk my blues, walk them all night long, I say. Oh, in the lonely hours, I'm gonna walk my blues away. From city to city, town to town, the boss man tells me no work to be found. From the alleys down south, they say no work, day after day. I'm gonna walk my blues, walk 'em all night long. nothing for you here, so move along. Well, lucky for me, I've got a woman in tow. I know I'll get through with some help, but I'm gonna walk my blues, walk 'em all night long, I say. Well, in the lonely hours, I'm gonna walk my blues away. Well, in the lonely hours, I'm gonna walk my blues away. Well, in the lonely hours, I'm gonna walk my blues away.
You brought up that Shania is well crafted like AC/DC. I won't mention any names because I'm not entirely sure how legal it is, but a gentleman gave me a copy of Dirty Eyes by Akadaka. Have either of you heard this song?
No.
No. If you ever get to hear it, it sounds just like Whole Lotta Rosie with different words. We reckon it's the precursor to Whole Lotta Rosie, and it's Bon Scott on vocals.
Right.
I'm just showing off. I'm going to play it on the radio tonight.
Cool. No, that is interesting. It wasn't on Bonfire. I've got that Bonfire box set, but no, there's a few on there that kind of turned into other songs.
This is Nowhere.
Yeah, right.
The other thing I was going to ask you both individually, because I've been interviewing for Rider TV, and I found this to be a really interesting question. You first, Dave. What's on your rider? At the gig at the Bridgeway, what's your non-negotiable?
2 cases of beer, a bottle of Jack, a bottle of Red, all the other soft drinks and stuff like that. You know, we're pretty civilised now, fruit platters, etc. Back in the day, when we first started having a rider, and obviously you take the piss a bit when you're a young fella and you're thinking, oh, they'll give us anything here. I used to have 2 packets of Winfield Blue and 2 pairs of St. George rugby league socks. Some of them gave me the rugby league socks. I remember we played at Parramatta Leagues, and Dennis Fitzgerald, the CEO, came in and made a point of giving me Parramatta shorts and socks. But, there was 1 packet of Winnie Blues for me and 1 for our lighting guy, Jimmy Virgos, and that was the deal. And that lasted for quite some time. Then everyone else was like, well, I want to get in on cigarettes. And I was like, oh, now it's all blown. But, yeah, order what you want.
Someone was telling me about Akadaka's rider, someone who toured with them back in the day. Brian Cadd it was. He said they asked for 4 large ashtrays, but you weren't allowed to smoke backstage. So the ashtrays are a big secret. What's your non-negotiable on your rider? What are we going to see at the Bridgeway for you?
Yeah, well, we're not too far from what you've suggested, Dave. I think, we're used to, I mean, it's usually now these days, Matt, my guitarist, will be, doing a mid-strength beer. We might definitely get a case of those. And then sometimes there's a full strength as well if there's 2 cases going down. And then we used to have Bacardi and 2 bottles of wine and sometimes Jack as well. But our bass player was just like, those days are done for me. So we scratched the Bacardi. We never drank the rum. I was just beer because I could count the drinks and, sort of knew where you're at. But the spirits was one way to just have that runaway train. You just never knew where you're at. And then you get that paint stripper sort of, that reflux paint stripper hangover, which is just awful. It's a bit more tame these days. And there's usually, we're trying to get, a bit healthier meals, but usually these places you play, there's a lot of, obviously, pubs and clubs have that sort of just the schnitzel, salad and chips kind of rider. We just try and get that kind of stuff, if we can get a hot meal. And sometimes we've travelled all day to get there, so it's like you want a nice meal so you can have a square meal and not have to go out and spend more time doing it. The worst one's when the venue's like, no, we don't have a rider and you guys have got to provide your own, and then you're at Woolies like halfway between the sound check and the beer. You ever had to do that, Dave?
Yeah, that's right. Bring your own rider. This doesn't seem right.
Such a time
Don't they know who you are?
So, usually we get pretty good people looking after us, so it's pretty good.
Yeah. We're all getting a bit old by the sound of it, but there still sounds like there's a pretty good party going on in the green room at the Bridgeway when you get here. Still Rocking It podcast with that radio chick, Cheryl Lee. We have one more member of the Fabulous Caprettos, and that is Jack Jones. You remember him from Southern Sons, fabulous musician. as they all are, hence the name, greatest of all time, the Goats, Fabulous Caprettos. Let's have one from Southern Sons now. How about Heart in Danger from 1990? Then back to finish up with Ray and Dave.
All of my life, all of my life, I stood outside the circle, right outside the circle, being so wrong, somehow felt right. Who needs to belong? That feeling was so strong. Wearing me down, turning me round. The strongest of intentions
I've got one more question for you both if we've got time. Is there a question that you wish some interviewer would ask you? Have you ever thought, geez, I wish they'd ask me about this?
Hedging and pruning and mowing. I'm a master gardener.
How you doing?
Yeah. I've lived on this property for the last 17 years and I've learned to do a whole range of outdoorsy stuff. I've even got my own little chainsaw. That's the little one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mostly talk to people about when I'm with my mates and that. I don't talk about being on stages and that. Where I live, there's a lot of farmers and vignerons, etc. So yeah, it's mostly talking about, I had to get a bloody sheep out of the creek the other day, and you know.
And Rosemary,
Beautiful part of the world.
It is.
And rosemary and thyme for dinner.
Well, we didn't have any lambs this year. Last year one was born on me foot, and that was a yuck. I'm not big on animal husbandry, but yeah, we didn't get a ram in this year, so all the ladies got a year off.
A rest year. What about you, Ray? What would you like me to ask you about?
Well, I don't really know, but I guess I like talking about, I don't mind a bit of sort of certain hobbies I had. I mean, this is crazy, but during COVID, when it was open in Sydney, there was a local ice rink. I remembered being a kid and there was a guy who used to go to a boarding school and he was like living basically, my dad's place in Sydney was near the Macquarie ice rink in Sydney. It was like a big Olympic rink. Then a mate who was at a boarding school had hockey skates, but he'd go back home and he'd lend me the skates. And I would have been maybe 14, 15, 16 years old. I sort of discovered that, you know, Friday night they'd have a disco and play songs, and there were girls that went to the ice skating rink as well. And, you know, the hormone. So it was always fun. You get to like listen and cruise around and have a chat to some girls or whatever you were doing, you know. That was at the end of high school. I never really did it again after that. You know, I just sort of ended up moving down to my dad's place and I wasn't so close to it anyway. And, you know, I didn't have a pair of skates because I had to give them back to this guy. But during COVID, it was just the weirdest time. There was nothing to do. All the gigs were off. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to buy my own skates. So I bought a pair of hockey skates for the first time in whatever it was, you know, 30 years, even maybe 20, 25 years. And then just ended up going down there and having a go at it. And I really got to love it. You know, I just started doing it like 3 or 4 times a week. And I met these guys on a Wednesday night that, you know, they were just like, oh, that's the more social time. You know, you're going to meet more of the actual people that do this if you're there. And one bloke was actually into music. I think he used to have like a jam band in his garage with his mates. And his 2 sons were like really good at skating. I didn't feel so embarrassed about, you know, being really bad at it or whatever. He'd give me tips, you know, like you got to go on the outside edge when you're doing the turn, you know, you don't want to go on the inside edge the whole time. Otherwise, then you're just like always spinning inwards and things like that. And I was like, wow. So I started getting into it a bit more. And then I guess I haven't been as often now, but it was just that weird hobby that no one would have expected, you know.
Sure.
It's also cool in the summer months because it's the best way to chill out. You just cool down by going into this cold room and it's just you cruise around, get exercise and hang out, and it's great fun. And when you have your own skates, I forgot how good it is. Then you're not getting all the blisters and stuff. Anyway,
other people's skates.
No one ever asks me about it ever. You wouldn't think it, but I actually really enjoy the process of skating around. It's great fun.
I love that. I'm a skater from way back, a roller skater though. Same different. It's amazing how therapeutic and how much fun skating around and around and around can be. I used to work at Downtown. You guys aren't from Adelaide, so I wouldn't recognise it, but it was a huge entertainment complex with a skating rink in it, and I was the skate marshal, so I used to pick up all the little kids that fell over and tell off all the big boys that were skating too fast and making all the little kids fall over.
Right.
You're right. You know, they play music and it's like a disco on wheels.
Yeah.
You get to hold hands with chicks.
Right, that's the other thing. I forgot about that. Yeah. Oh, man, it's just pathetic, isn't it? But, you know, that's kind of like, when I think about it, then you get into bands and there's a bit of the same kind of vibe. It's like, oh, yeah, maybe if we're in a band, you know, like we'll get to like Friday night. You know, same old thing.
Growing up in the suburbs, it was, I reckon.
Yeah.
Downtown was, apart from a gig, was the next best pickup joint in town. You know? Gentlemen, I really appreciate you finding some time in your very busy schedules to chat to me today. Is there anything that either of you want to add?
I'm all good. It was great.
I shall see you down the front.
See you
No
then.
worries, Cheryl. Thank you. Cheers.
See you then.
Cheers, Ray. Good to see you, man.
Have a good
Take
time.
care. Right.
See you, man. Bye.
You are listening to Still Rocking It, the podcast with Cheryl Lee.
Let's go out with the departing Capretto member, Daryl Braithwaite's huge hit, Horses. Gee, I hope the boys do play this in honour of Daryl on their upcoming tour.
We will fly way up high where the cold wind blows, or in the sun, laughing, having fun with all the people that she knows. And if the situation should keep us separated, you know the world won't fall apart, and you will free the beautiful bird that's caught inside your heart. Can't you hear her? She cries so loud, as the wild note over water and cloud. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. We'll be riding on the horses, yeah, yeah, way up in the sky, little darling. And if you fall, pick you up, pick you up. You will grow, and until you go, I'll be right there by your side. And even then, whisper the wind, and she will carry up your right. I hear all the people of the world in one bird's lonely cry. See them trying every way they know how to make their spirit fly. Can't you see him? He's down on the ground, so broken wing, looking all around. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. You go riding on the horses, yeah, yeah, way up in the sky, little darling. Oh, and if you fall, pick you up, pick you up. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. You go riding on the horses, yeah, yeah, way up in the sky, little darling. And if you fall, pick you up, pick you up. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. You go riding on the horses, yeah, yeah, way up in the sky, little darling. Don't worry about a thing, and if you fall, I'll pick you up, I'll pick you up. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. You go riding on the horses, yeah, yeah, way up in the sky, little darling. And if you fall, I'll pick you up, I'll pick you up. That's the way it's gonna be, little darling. You go riding on the horses, yeah, yeah, way up in the sky, little darling.
You're with Cheryl Lee, that radio chick. Thank you so much for joining me on the Still Rocking It podcast. Hope to catch you again next time. Get out when you can, support Aussie music, and I'll see you down the front.